What do you think?
I think we're dead meat. Real dead meat.
You're dead meat! Go ahead and laugh, you guys. Find the final little bastards that did this. They're dead meat.
Welcome to the Dead Meat Podcast, your horror safe haven. I'm Chelsea.
And I'm James, and we're married, and we like to get scared together.
We're talking about Nope this week.
Nope. Yep, we're talking about Nope.
We're talking about Nope.
Yes. I'm so fucking excited for this episode.
Yeah,
because
me too.
Last episode, we talked about men, and throughout it, I said I was a dummy stupid pants, and I couldn't understand a lot of the themes, and I wasn't prepared and equipped to explain a lot of the things. And I saw at least one comment saying, I hate when James calls himself dumb, because sometimes he does a good job explaining stuff. I think I will do you good in this one, because this movie I understood better. Because Jordan Peele's movies are rich in themes, but they don't make me feel dumb.
Yeah, I think that's what I really like about his movies, among many other things, is they're incredibly smart, but I never feel like I'm being talked down to by them. And I think that's a really hard thing to accomplish.
I think they're smart and not pretentious.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Nope.
Yeah, and I'm sorry if you live somewhere where it hasn't come out yet. I feel
that's
really
right outside the US, huh?
I feel really bad. We just wanted to talk about this.
They can come back. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. They can come back and listen to it then. But please, if you haven't, go see it, I would say, you know?
In a theater, I mean, this is such a great theater movie too, because the sound mixing is really cool and loud, and just the scale of it is really neat. It feels like a very summery, blockbustery adventure.
Absolutely.
Kinda.
And if you can afford it and it's available to you, see it in IMAX.
Yeah.
IMAX is not only picture size, it is also the sound quality in those theaters, but the picture, it's shot so amazing.
It looks so good.
This is Christopher Nolan's cinematographer.
Which is crazy to me. And that tells me that Christopher Nolan really favors kind of a desaturated palette, because I could not have guessed. If you asked me, like, what other filmmaker is this guy known for working with, Christopher Nolan would be so far down on my list of guesses.
Yeah, Hoyt van Hoytema.
Yeah.
Which it sounds like a fake name.
Yeah.
It's great. But he shot, I believe, Tenet. Let's see, The Fighter. He shot Her. But then, Dunkirk and Interstellar. Like, huge Nolan movies.
Her, I can see visually some of the same. Okay, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, he was the cinematographer for this movie. It looks fucking great. Mm-hmm. It's fantastic. I think it's funny. I think that here's the thing. When this movie ended the first time we saw it twice. The first time was at the premiere, which was a really cool experience to go to. But the movie ended and the credits started rolling, and I was like, that was good. I don't know if I loved it. Then I just couldn't stop thinking about it for the next week.
Yeah.
The next 2 weeks. And then we decided to cover it on the podcast, went and saw it again, and it just solidified.
I can't stop
so
thinking
good.
about it. I think this is my favorite Jordan Peele.
I think it is a contender. I would have to rewatch Get Out and Us. I haven't seen them since I've covered them on the channel, but Nope is just sticking with me.
Yeah, I'm basing that on just how, out of his 3 movies, this is the one where I've spent the longest afterwards, just really just turning it around in my head, and there's just new things that I kind of discover about it the more that I pick at it. And the soundtrack's fucking great. I was listening to it the other day, and I don't know, it just, everything about it just hits.
I like
so
being
well.
there. I like being in that setting and place with those characters.
That's another thing about Jordan Peele that he's really good at, is visual signatures and motifs that stick with you. And because, like, you think of Get Out, I think of the sunken place. I think of that fucking teacup, even her doing the weird thing with the milk and the Fruit Loops, just as a weird visual thing. And Us, even more so, the red jumpsuits and the scissors, and there's bunny rabbits and just all these little visual
Across
things.
America.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then there's so many little visual things that he's just so good at that.
You know what it is one of the ways I think about that is, does this movie give me things to put on the set for the kill count? Because, like,
he's very good
he's
at that.
very good at
yeah,
that.
he makes it easy for you to decorate, for
exactly.
sure.
Because, like, you know, I'm just been spending time with Don't Breathe too. It's just very whatever movie, but like that and many other movies are just they're so grounded. They take place in our world in regular settings with regular people doing regular things. And it's like when it comes to decorating the sets, like I don't want to put a gun there. That's boring. I don't know what to put. Jordan Peele movies always give me plenty to put on there. We're gonna wind up with a miniature wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man.
Absolutely,
just stick
we
on the
are.
set there. Yeah.
I think I also maybe just this movie's a little special because I had to unexpectedly do that cast interview all by myself.
Oh, yeah.
Which was fucking terrifying.
They were great.
Can I just say, if you haven't watched that, please go watch it.
It's 5 minutes long.
I haven't watched it because I can't. My social anxiety refuses to let me relive that interview. But I remember it going really well, and apparently the video's good.
It's very good.
And me and Kiki Palmer are best friends now.
Yeah. She's right behind that door.
Yeah, here she is. No, she was like the nicest person.
Yeah, it
And I
seemed
love
like it.
her.
Yeah, I know that this movie got some backlash. I feel like that's just inherent to Jordan Peele at this point.
I think anytime a movie comes out now where, especially after the premiere night where everyone's kind of raving about it, everyone's ready to be skeptical. I think that's just the nature of we all can instantly read each other's opinions about movies online.
And then there's also Jordan Peele himself specifically. I think some people, he's an amazing filmmaker. I think he's batting 3 for 3. I know a lot of people didn't like Us. I disagree.
Yeah.
But I know that some fans of his really are like, he's the best
He's
filmmaker
the
ever.
best.
There's the viral tweet where someone said he's the best horror director ever, and Jordan Peele himself responded and was like, please don't do this.
Yeah.
And there was, some people saying that they didn't understand it and that it had plot holes or whatever. There was a...
Plot holes, fuck off. No.
Plot
but
holes, absolutely not.
Not understanding it, fair. There are a lot of ideas in this, and it's juggling a lot. The second time I saw it, so when we first saw it, I remember thinking, I really, really loved this. I'm not sure if it all totally came together. And then when I saw it a second time and was able to kind of appreciate the bigger picture of it, knowing everything that happens, I think it's totally fun. I think it all comes together, makes sense once you, I think, have another chance to absorb all of it.
Yeah, because if you're not used to watching movies and having to like think about thematic parallels and why two things that seem unrelated can actually support each other, you might walk out of this movie being like, what the fuck was with that monkey? Like, why was there all of that?
Yeah.
And that's fine, but what I don't like is people then being like, I didn't get, that movie sucked. Like,
I don't get it, therefore it sucks.
yeah. Because even with Men, which we talked about last time, I felt as though we said, I didn't understand it, and I wanted to understand it and like look it up. And I know that some people are like, well, if you have to do that, then it's not a good movie. No, maybe you're just not thinking about it in the same terms that the filmmaker is, and that's okay. And you can challenge yourself and read about it. I'm just the fucking Logan Paul thread.
I know, it
kills
really
me.
pissed me off
Just
too.
it was one thing when it was just his saying it's one of the worst movies he's seen because it didn't make sense, but then seeing replies to it being like, oh man, I was gonna see this, now I'm not. That's what
bumped
fucking
me out.
sucks,
Yeah.
man. Support this is an original movie.
Yeah, it's an original movie. It's not just shut your brain off and it's good kind of blockbuster. No, this is a very smart blockbuster. This feels like such a throwback to maybe more old school style it felt, it reminded me of Jaws.
Yeah,
and
Jaws is
Close
common
Encounters,
comparison.
maybe Tremors even a little bit.
Very Tremors, yeah.
It's, God, I just...
It's
we all complain about how nothing is original anymore, and then we're given this amazing original thing, and I don't know, it's just, there is original stuff being made, and we're very lucky that Jordan Peele has thus far been successful enough to then he's able to keep making stuff like this. And
this sci-fi adventure horror film that's not based on anything, like, it's so cool.
Yeah.
I love it. And also, you can have seen this movie and not like it, obviously.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fine. We're not saying that we're right, but I just think this movie's super impressive, and we're going to talk about why.
yeah, if you want another take on this movie that isn't ours,
I didn't read that shit.
it's
Richard
fucking
Newby,
great.
I'm sorry,
Richard
dude.
Newby wrote an analysis of this film for the Hollywood Reporter. The very first sentence of which is, what's the deal with the chimp, right? Because that's kind of what everyone is wondering after this movie.
That or the shoe.
Or the shoe, which is that same exact scene. So he knows that scene, you know, that whole storyline might be for many people like, oh, I don't get why this was there. And he does such a good job of basically arguing that chimp is just the linchpin of the whole thing.
Oh, yeah. I feel that way entirely.
Yeah.
As much as I love everything about this movie, the Steven Yeun stuff is really what
So good.
drives it home as being so good, like great.
He also, his storyline is all the scariest shit in this movie.
Scariest, and I think his character is the most tragic and complicated.
Yeah.
It's so
his character
interesting.
is really complicated.
Yeah, I love it. Oh, fuck yeah. We're
All right,
gonna
let's
get into
talk
this.
about it.
Go see it.
We'll try not to record for 3 hours.
I know it's a danger. We're holding Gressel hostage, but we took him to see the movie before
Yeah, hey,
recording
Gressel,
this.
you get to this week know what we're talking about. And
I hate not having a microphone.
He wants a mic so bad.
we
I'm
gotta get
sorry,
him-
dude.
We'll get you a mic. Yeah, we won't be talking about dudes being born out of another dude's vagina,
Backussy.
fully grown, or
That was men, by the way.
a giant creature with poopy, scabby, stop
God,
motion balls.
by the
No,
way, yeah.
you've seen this movie. You're gonna know what we're talking about.
Or,
There are rules.
Yes,
Yeah,
Gressel.
Title that.
Yeah, Gressel gives it 2 thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Thumbs up. Thumbs
those are
up.
2 disembodied thumbs up.
Speaking of the chimp, that's how the movie opens with Gordy, the
Yeah.
chimp. And we get kind of it's the audio from this sitcom called
You'd think
Gordy's
a guy
Home.
who could send a rocket to the moon would be better at picking out a birthday gift. Nope.
I think it's when this audio is first playing, we get this passage from the Bible. It's
yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce this. Nahum. Nahum?
Nahum.
Nahum 3:6. I had the
You had this up?
quote on my phone, and
It's
then
about spectacle.
it is about spectacle.
Here's the thing about this movie. Jordan Peele wants you to get it.
He gives you all the ingredients to understand.
He gave you all the clues,
this.
Mr. Policeman.
He did.
He says the word spectacle. Steven Yeun says spectacle so many times, and that's a big aspect of this movie. I think the 2 driving themes of this movie.
This is the quote that
Okay,
it
go
opens
ahead.
with. I will cast abominable filth upon you, make you vile, and make you a spectacle.
Yes. I think the 2 overarching, I always fuck it up because
Whatever.
Okay, whatever. Those themes of this movie are animal exploitation and the dangers of that, and what people do for spectacle and fame.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
also I think even beyond animal exploitation, just in general exploitation, or just at what cost are we willing to capture something entertaining, or at what point do we decide, you know what, I don't think it's right for me to be watching this.
Yeah, and that's where those 2 themes dovetail.
Yeah.
Those for sure, keep those things in mind while you're maybe rewatching the movie, which is very rewarding, and while we're discussing it.
We hear this sitcom opening, and then we cut to this kind of wide shot of the studio, and clearly this chimp who is part of this sitcom has snapped, as you so often. Chimps are scary. I find chimps extremely frightening. In general, they're too smart. And they are like,
They're just muscly. Tantrum children.
yeah. It's amazing how they're one of those animals. I feel like it's them and hippos where they look like they would be so much fun. And that's the scariest thing about them. Like, a chimp is like a little guy you can play with. And a hippo is just like a big, fat little, like, water cow. But that's not fat. It's all fucking muscle. And it
Yeah.
will crush you like
Yeah.
a watermelon. Yeah. So this actor chimp snapped. And we see there's like this kid actor's feet kind of sticking out. Clearly, this chimp's just mauled, like, this entire cast on this set. And we are... at first, you can't tell, but then I think when the chimp kind of looks directly into the audience, which I think is on purpose, it's a POV shot, or at least we discover that later. I think it is neat that maybe we don't realize that right away, and so Gordy's just looking at us, kind of looking at him.
And to have the first shot end with this animal looking into the camera also ties into a lot of things. There's a lot of things about eye contact and looking directly into someone's eyes. There's the watching and spectacle thing like we've mentioned. And so I think this first shot really sets all that up.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's the mystery element of it. It's scary, and we'll get into it later when it cuts back to it. Yeah, the shoe.
Everyone's problem is this fucking shoe. Out of anything in this movie where we've got all kinds of creatures and aliens, ? Everyone's like, how'd the shoe land that way, though? Why is standing
it's a bad
up?
miracle.
Yeah, it's a bad miracle, exactly. We cut to our main character, OJ, who is Daniel Kaluuya with his dad. I think it's just Otis Sr.
Yeah, because OJ is Otis Jr.
Yeah. Otis, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I just have Keith David Hart, with hearts in my notes. My movie theater notes, by the way. So I can't read half these. So we'll see how this goes. Oh, Keith David. It's kind of amazing he's in this movie with Michael Wincott. And yeah, I saw someone point out they couldn't be in the same scene because their voices are just too sexy. Mm-hmm. It'd be too powerful. Our heads would all explode.
Well, we just watched The Crow last night, and I was thinking about instead of Keith David, had it been Tony Todd, it would have been Todd and Wincott having a little reunion from The Crow. Mm-hmm. But I'm hoping Tony Todd gets to work with Jordan Peele on a movie.
Yeah.
Right?
Jordan Peele produced Candyman.
Sure.
But
so I'm sure they had conversations.
That would be,
to be in a directed movie, that'd be cool.
Please. So they are horse trainers. Haywood Hollywood horses. I find it interesting that they're kind of talking about their next project, and Otis Sr. goes, "We got to keep our heads up out of the clouds on this one," which I thought was an interesting bit of dialogue.
Yes.
Where he's talking about, okay, if we nail this next project, we won't have to sell a bunch of horses. I think they're kind of struggling to get by on this farm. But
he also says, I forget what it's referring to, but I wrote it down. Take a look at all of that. Mm-hmm. Take a look at all of that, and it's because he takes a look and has his head up that he is killed in this first scene. Because while OJ is heading back to the house, and OJ, I've seen discussions about whether perhaps OJ is on the spectrum. He doesn't make a lot of eye contact with other people.
Oh, interesting.
He's often looking down. He might just be a little antisocial.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily something on the spectrum, but I think people have maybe looked at him as a character.
Oh, I like that.
Representative of him.
That would be a neat character to find some connection into.
At the very least, he's shy.
Yeah.
And he often is looking down at the ground, mumbling, and it's this looking down and this kind of reservedness that is perhaps the reason why he is. I mean, it is why he survives later. Mm-hmm. But in this scene, things start to fall from the sky, and Keith David is looking up. And then the shot changes and he's out of frame. And when it comes back, he's slumped over. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that he is killed when a nickel goes through his eye. And I was thinking about how these little things are falling. They're keys and nickels, change, little pocket items. And he might have been okay had it not gone through his soft eye that was vulnerable by looking up. If he's just sitting there looking forward, it might hurt, but I don't know if it could penetrate the skull. But it's because he's looking up, eye contact with the sky, which will later show to be a dangerous thing. That's what allows a nickel to go through the eye and into the brain and kill him.
Yeah, in Richard Newby's article, he points out animals in films and the trope of having kind of like Steven Yeun's character is this kind of token, funny Asian kid in the sitcom. He's clearly adopted. Mm-hmm. It's kind of part of the joke, right? He's also this kid sheriff. It's like a short round thing where it's kind of a haha funny thing.
Yeah, because even Keke Palmer is like, oh, you're the Asian kid in that.
Right, exactly.
And that's how you think of those kids in those movies.
Right.
Like Short Round and Goonies. It's like, oh, yeah, the Asian kid. Yeah.
Right. The Asian kid, the black kid. Mm-hmm. Keke Palmer even mentions
there was a 3D,
black kid,
I think,
and
who had the whole 3D class.
Yeah, so Richard Newby points out that it's this token that falls through his eye that kills him. So just a kind of neat visual thing.
Yeah, when he's driving him to the hospital before he's fully dead, and he's like trying to get him to
He's naming the horses.
naming the horses.
Yeah.
But man, there's like blood spurts coming out of
So
his eye.
gross.
It's real gross.
Yeah.
And during that, while it's falling, you hear faint screaming.
Yes, you can hear screaming. Yeah.
And it's whenever this being is around, you hear this screaming just echoing through the clouds.
You know
It's
what
terrifying.
it is at the very beginning when we first see OJ and his dad, there's a radio you
Yep.
can hear, and you hear something about a report about missing hikers, and I have
Yes.
a feeling that's who we're hearing.
Well, that's what it is. Yeah. This. So, spoiler. I really hope you saw this movie by now, but the flying saucer that is prominent in the later trailers, which
I'm so glad I didn't watch those later
yeah,
trailers.
me too, because I didn't.
I
know
did- I
that
had
that was
no
gonna
idea,
happen.
yeah.
That is not a flying saucer with beings inside, as Stephen Yeun's character thinks. It is actually an animal itself.
Right.
And so that report about the missing hikers, that this thing must have found them, ate them up. They're screaming, and then it's spitting out all the non-biological things from their pockets and possessions, which we also see it do later.
Yeah.
And that's what kills Otis Sr.
And I think when the alien, I mean, I don't even know if it's an alien. I kind of think this is something that has always kind of coexisted.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is
among us
I
on
think
Earth.
it's an alien, but I don't know. It could be either way.
Yeah.
It is a
I don't even know if it
creature,
matters
a
that
being.
much.
It doesn't, I don't think.
But this creature, when it eats people, it spits out things like keys, currency. It spits out like the hand of a sign where it's like pointing to an exit, and it's spitting out all these things that are things that humans rely on in our natural environment to do our little human things. We use keys to unlock doors and protect our belongings. We use currency. We use signage for direction to find our way around. And it just kind of made me think of how, especially an animal like Gordy, this chimp, when we take animals and use them in productions and we put them in our environment, we literally do remove all of the things from this being, this creature, that makes them a chimp. We're like, no, we're taking you away from all of your chimp things, and like that we're discarding all of those things just to use the actual body of the chimp.
In a similar way to the way the alien animal is
consumes-
using people,
Yeah,
and just
discarding
discarding the rest of it.
everything else it doesn't need. Yeah.
Interesting, yeah.
I don't know how far in the future this
6 months.
Okay, so 6 months later, we see OJ on a set. He's in front of a green screen with his horse, Lucky. He has they have a bunch of different horses. I forget how many they say they have, but he's on set with Lucky, and he keeps being referred to as Horse Guy, I wrote.
Yeah, horse guy, and the production is asking him to do the safety spiel. He doesn't want to. He says
Yeah.
it's his sister's job, but she's running late.
I noticed that the guy who is kind of, I think he's maybe doing lighting, he keeps giving OJ commands, like, can you like turn around? Can you do, it feels like he's giving commands to an animal a little bit, like spin, move this way, do this. Little detail I love is that the actress who's on the set for this, I'm assuming a commercial they're filming.
That's what it is. It's not Otis Sr. who says, take a look at all of that. It's when they introduce the actress
Oh,
who
take
seems
a look at
take
all
a
of
look
that.
at all
Yes.
of that. Yeah, and just
Osgood Perkins, by the way, director Osgood Perkins, son of Anthony Perkins, who
Oh.
did The Black Coat's Daughter, Gretel and Hansel. Yeah. So I thought that was kind of neat to see him.
Well, he's like the I don't know what he is.
He's a director.
Or is he the director or the AD?
Oh yeah, I forget if he's the director or AD.
What, the one who introduces her? And like, that seems like an AD. The one he's
Kinda,
too much
sure.
on the set. Yeah,
Doing too much ringleading. To
exactly.
Be the,
Yeah, and yeah, it's another thing with this is OJ has this respect for his animals. He's telling them, no sudden movements, no loud noises, all things that'll come into play later. And the rest of the people on the set are really just like, they want to use the horse for their shot. They're like, tell the horse we're ready for a shot. Like, tell the
Please
horse
tell
we're
the
ready.
horse we're ready. I do. The thing I was going to say, though, is that actress. I love when she goes, your name is OJ? And she
Yeah.
looks a little freaked out.
Yeah, a little joke.
Yeah. Then, so Emerald shows up. That's Keke Palmer and OJ's sister. She's running late, but she runs in to give the safety spiel, which she's much better at until she starts plugging all her side projects. Which, I guess you gotta respect the hustle. But
No, you know what? it's the safety stuff is her side project. The other
That's
shit's
right.
her real
You're
shit.
right. I'm
That's what
sorry.
she says.
That's right. Forgive me, Emerald.
But she
I'm
does
sorry.
mention in her gigs and abilities and skills.
Motorcycles. I wrote that. I was
Motorcycles,
just
yep.
scribbling furiously in my
Sets it up
notes.
later, yeah.
What I think is funny and kind of, I don't know if it's on purpose, but she's wearing a sweater that's the exact same color as the green screen behind her. It just makes me kind of think she's background. She's not, like, no one on this set is considering either of these two to be of any importance. They just want to use the horse for this shot, right? There's not a respect there. And I think it's interesting that her name's Emerald. I have theories. And in an interview, Jordan Peele did say that some of this movie is Wizard of Oz inspired. I was excited to have that confirmed, that I wasn't just losing it a little bit or overanalyzing. Well, I guess, like, you know, her name being Emerald, in the books, I think also in the musical, the Wicked too, they do this too, where the Emerald City, as opposed to the movie where it actually is this green, spectacular city, the Emerald City in the book, you put on emerald glass, you have to put on these glasses before you go in, and the thing is, it's like, oh, this will protect your eyes, it's too amazing to look at. But all it is doing is it's making the city look green.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure. I loved that book when I was a kid.
That we're getting some confirmation from English major Gressel over there, so
Yeah, it's all.
it's more of the
all a sham.
man behind the curtain.
It
type
is
thing.
literally,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
man behind the curtain. And that's where I think it's both kind of allusions to the movie itself, but also The Wizard of Oz was a famously troubled production. I feel like I would not want to have been an actor in the 1930s, 40s.
God, no. Pump you
It's-
full of amphetamines and
Yes, yeah, Judy Garland, just, you know, as a child getting just fed amphetamines and diet pills and shit.
And you know, like, what other movie from that era could you better call a spectacle than
Yeah,
The Wizard of Oz in all its
absolutely.
Technicolor glory?
Absolutely. But I just think it's interesting that Emerald is the one in this movie who she kind of constantly wants to leave the farm. Like, she wants to leave their home.
Literally, yeah. She can't be in this house, she says several times.
She does, yeah. And Daniel is the there's no place like home character. The reason I even thought of Wizard of Oz in the first place is later she's watching an interview with Oprah on her phone, and the person that Oprah's interviewing says something about she's talking about getting abducted by aliens, and she's like, well, I didn't have ruby slippers I could click and just go home. And that's what made me, that kind of started the gears turning a little bit.
And then, the name Emerald is very specific and uncommon, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's tornadoes, there's lots of...
Oh, yeah. So she's much better at the spiel, like you said, but unfortunately they rush the shot with the horse, and they go in with what you said
it's a VFX ball.
I assumed it was like a light meter.
I thought it was a light meter too, but then I'm like, but we all shoot digital now, so why do they need a light meter? That's weird. Okay, and then I did a quick search of what I just literally was like,
shiny ball.
yeah,
film set.
it was kind of hard to find the exact keywords that got me what I needed, but it is a VFX ball, where basically it. To make an object look like it naturally fits. Like, if we wanted to CGI something next, like in between us, we would use this shiny ball to capture all of the light information from like 360 degrees around us, so that you have all of that lighting information to then basically project onto this fake object so that it looks like it fits.
That's great.
Which makes me want, like, what were they going to CGI in there?
Yeah. Well, it ends up being the horse, because the horse sees it, looks at it in the eye, and perhaps this horse has witnessed other horses being eaten by this thing that you can't look in the eye, and perhaps this reminds him of it, or it's just an animal instinct. Either way, freaks him out, kicks.
It bucks and it kicks the makeup lady's bag.
Yeah, I was so scared
Dude,
that
I
someone's
jumped
neck
when
was
this
getting
horse
broken by this
kicked.
horse's kick. Yeah. Fucking Don Draper's dad? Is that?
Yes.
Yeah, that's how he died. I know. I was like, oh, fuck, we're in it now. No death yet. And then I love the background joke of them wheeling in a green screen horse.
So funny. This fake horse. Yeah, I laughed. I like that they had that. I'm sure they called up another warehouse on the lot, like, hey, we need the horse.
Yeah. Horse guy didn't come through.
So yeah, OJ takes Lucky, and Lucky got spooked. Can't have that. we gotta sell Lucky, unfortunately.
And so he sells them to Stephen Yun's ranch, which is down the road from him. They live in Agua Dulce, which is a real place out here in California. It's 45-minute drive.
Yeah,
well,
with
maybe
traffic, which can get bad going that way.
But it's within range. But when you're out there, you're pretty far removed. You're not in the city.
We've ridden horses up there before.
Yeah,
for my birthday that one time.
Yeah, it's just desert. It is open land.
Yeah.
And so they're neighbors, which I love. That like
I love
he's
this
just down in the
fictional
gulch.
Agua Dulce. Like this, I don't know. Just the world of this is so good. It's so good.
I also found it interesting that M she was not familiar with Stephen Yun's theme park. They get there when they're going to sell the horse.
Yeah, and she's like, what? She says, what happened to Gold Rush? I think was the park that used to be there.
And OJ says it's been this for 3 years. So she hasn't been around for 3 years, which is interesting because in that opening scene, Otis Sr. asks, isn't your sister going to come help with this?
I mean, apparently
and she's not there. Apparently she never showed. So, even if she did come, maybe she just hates this place so much she's not even paying attention to the place down the road from them.
And I can see that. Like, I think that's also just, you live somewhere like that, you're not like walking past that every day. I feel like you still have to drive to it.
Yeah.
I can think of like times where we've lived somewhere and then we drive around and we're like, has that always been there? Like,
Yeah.
how long has that been like that? That happens to all of us. I think let's do some over analysis here.
Okay.
Speaking of Jupiter.
Also, by the way, I have a bunch of burrs in my hand from.
Yeah, I just noticed that.
Yeah,
What'd you
it's from
do?
those mole spikes I was putting in the ground, and so if you see me just picking at my hand, I'm just removing tiny little burrs from my hand.
Fuck.
Yep.
Ew.
I'm all messed
The
up.
joys of home ownership.
Moles.
You just keep getting tortured by all the little critters that live around our house.
Moles and the lizards.
You gotta have an agreement. See, that's you gotta have an agreement with them. Yeah, his real he's Ricky Park.
Yeah.
But he goes by Jupe or Jupiter.
Yep.
Because that was his name
in the show previous to
Kid
Gordy.
Sheriff, right?
Yeah.
I think
because this is a Western themed thing, and that's a Western show. So
yeah.
I think he's banking off that. I mean, his whole life seems to be banking off that role and that character.
Yes.
And so that's why he has made this theme park around that character. And, if he was exploited as a child actor, which he probably was, it is him profiting from this exploitation, which is the theme with his character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to turn it around and use that for himself. But yeah, the name Jupiter, I think, is kind of interesting because I guess like most obviously think of Jupiter, the big gas planet. There's a lot of, and again, this is Richard Newby in his article talks about this too. There's lots of imagery of balloons in this, and even the inflatable arm men are just this fake human-looking thing filled with air. The idea of a balloon popping, and that's the end of your enjoyment of this thing. The giant balloon of Jupe that you see when you walk into the park, and Jupiter is the big gas giant.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And also,
filled with hot air.
Jupiter was god of the sky. I mean, it's the equivalent of Zeus, but also it's god of the sky and heavens, which is kind of neat.
Kind of like our creature in this region, god of the sky, scary god of the sky. Yeah, I love this scene because, like I said, I love Stephen Yeun's character. I love Stephen Yeun as a performer, as a person.
Michigan's own, kind of.
Michigan's own, kind
I
of.
don't think he was born in Michigan, but...
But what, he went to high school there?
He went to Troy High School.
Yeah, so that's cool. We'll claim him if he'll let us.
I like that Lucky the horse still has all the green screen markers.
Yeah.
When he leads him in.
And so, yeah, OJ mentions, well, I can't fire myself, so, I like that this is his understanding of animals and respect of them, is he says, oh, Lucky freaked out on set. To be fair, so did I. Like, so I also messed up, but I can't fire myself, so we have to get rid of Lucky. And he also wants to set up a way to buy these horses back.
Yes, and interestingly, Stephen's reaction is, yeah.
Oh,
sorry,
very
that
loud.
Giant plane going over.
It's Jupiter sailing overhead.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stephen Yeun's reaction, I'm just like, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, we'll do that. And this is when Keke Palmer's walking around Jupe's office.
Ooh, really quick, when we cut to his office, there is a poster on the wall. They do a reality show. Did you see that? Him and his family?
No.
Yes.
Oh, really? Of
it's
course.
him and the kids, and yet it's another generation of exploiting the kids.
Yep.
They're part of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Reality
right.
TV.
They have parts in the show. Yeah,
Yes.
for sure. Also, there are a prominent pair of scissors on his desk.
I noticed those
They're not
too.
gold like the ones in Us.
I
They're
did
silver, but they might be a
I
reference.
noticed those too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And later, when they get food, they're at a restaurant, which I guess is also in Us.
Yeah.
Like they get the food from the same place. Mm-hmm. So, Jordan Peele Cinematic Universe.
Yeah. They're trying to do this deal, but Kiki keeps getting distracted by all the memorabilia in this office because she realizes who Jupe is. Like, oh, you're that kid. You were in Kid Sheriff. And that's when she notices the Mad Magazine cover on the wall that's like a jokey kind of parody of Gordy's on this chimp attack, essentially. And she goes, oh, yeah, like I kind of remember that. And that's when Jupe says, well, you know, normally I charge people for this, but let me show you this. So the wall opens up and there's this whole other back room.
Like a shrine to Gordy.
I
for the
love
show.
this shot where he's first standing in here and there's like a mannequin of Gordy with the shirt that Gordy would always wear, but this mannequin's kind of like, it's got its arms up a little bit. And I love the way it's framed because it's right behind Steven. It looks like it could be about to jump on him or something. It's kind of cool. Jupe explains he was a kid on this sitcom called Gordy's Home, and they were filming an episode called Gordy's Birthday, and one day the actor chimp playing Gordy, who I think it's interesting, he never says the real name of the chimp, it's just this is the chimp that's Gordy.
One of the chimps.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. Just couldn't take it anymore and snapped. And it's so fascinating the way he talks about this memory, because instead of describing what happened, he uses this fictional SNL skit instead to kind of relay the events of what happened. He goes, this SNL skit does a better job of explaining it than I can. I don't know if you remember it, but I forget who all the actors he said were in it.
I think Sherry O'Terry gets mentioned.
Sherry O'Terry.
Because it would be what, like early 2000,
90s.
like late 90s, maybe around 2000. Because I think it was 98 when it happened, so yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And of course, Chris goddamn Kattan as Gordy.
Kattan playing Gordy, which fucking killed me. I mean, you just think of if you want to see what that is, just go find Mr. Peepers. That was his running character on SNL.
It's so funny. At that premiere, before the movie started, we're talking to the guy next to me. He's like a college kid who's there from, where is it? Morehouse, yeah, in Georgia. And they were visiting for the summer. He was interning here for the summer. Great guy, great conversation.
They were all really nice.
Yeah, and we're sitting there watching the movie, and I'm like, this kid probably doesn't know who Chris Kattan is.
He maybe doesn't know who that is. Yeah. But this killed me. The way he's describing this skit is, you think, oh, he thinks it's fun. Like, he's doing a very good job at hiding any trauma that surely he has after this.
Well, you get a quick little flashback. And like he's like telling the story, and then it quickly cuts back to him as a kid on the set.
He's hiding under the table.
Yeah, with blood splattered on him, because
Yeah.
this is at the end of it after they take care of Gordy. And so like obviously, yeah, he's traumatized. He deflects and kind of masks over that trauma with this SNL sketch. One thing that I'm like, dude, this was an incident where people died and were mangled. I don't know if SNL would actually do a sketch about it, but maybe back then.
Maybe though, I don't know.
I'm not gonna. That's one of those things where I'm like, I don't know if that would happen, and I'm not gonna. Whatever.
I think 100%.
It works with the movie
because think of like we already mentioned like OJ, like the OJ Simpson.
That's true.
You think of all
Yeah.
those fucking skits, the dancing.
Yeah, 2 people were murdered.
Yeah,
and
like the
OJ
dancing judge thing on Leno, and I think we as an audience are supposed to be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why would you make a sketch? But like we do that. We make fun of
we
shit
exploit
like that.
tragedy, and part of it is not. It's not 100% a cynical read. It's also how people deal with things.
Yeah.
Sometimes, there is the profiteering aspect of it, but there's also the like, how do we make sense of this fucked up thing that happens? I guess we can kind of joke about it maybe in a dark way if it like brings some kind of resolution.
Yeah.
You know, there are different aspects, and that's why Stephen Yeun's character is so interesting because like he's this poor kid who went through this awful thing and he doesn't know how to deal with it, and he maybe thinks that he is special for surviving it, and that leads to his death. At the same time, he is also exploiting a creature, and like, oh man, it's so sad, and
it just kind of makes me think too about how like the image of this kid hiding under a table covered in blood. I mean, maybe it's just because it's pretty fresh in like our national memories, but I just thought of like fucking school shootings, man, and how we have like so many kids who, you know, because I think we focus on how many kids are killed in stuff like that, but then you think of all the kids who survive and
then their families, like the secondary effects.
It's just this thing where like we forget about that, and then also you have this weird kind of phenomenon of kids who like think of like David Hogg. He's like a household name. He's one of the Parkland survivors. He's famous because he was traumatized. Yeah. Like, that's how we know him.
But fame is maybe the tertiary theme of this movie, another prominent theme throughout, because Keke Palmer, you know, does her safety spiel and then is like, you can hire me to do all these other things. Right. And later when she calls the cinematographer, he talks about that dream she's chasing, to have her to be well known and famous. And what I think is really interesting, this also gets into like the TMZ motorcycle guy later, and also why it's fucking hilarious that Logan Paul didn't understand this movie. But Keke Palmer seems like someone who wants to be famous without doing the work. OJ is always talking about, all right, it's time to do the work. Right. Like tomorrow I have to wake up and do the work. And she's all like, nope, never. Like this happens 2 or 3 times throughout the movie. He's like, well, you can help me with this work. And she's like, nah, never mind. Like, see ya. But she's driven by this want to be famous. Right. Whereas he does not have that drive.
Notably, Jupe says it's 6 minutes and 13 seconds of havoc. That number comes back later. Just kind of an interesting little parallel that I like. A bit of dialogue I love is he specifically says, I was scribbling this down so I had the exact wording. He says that Chris Kattan is a force of nature killing on that stage. Which,
then a force of nature ends up killing on a stage later. Yeah, I love this goddamn movie.
That's Gordy.
Yeah.
Yep.
And also, which I didn't notice, because at first I was confused by later on when we get the first sighting of the creature in the sky. It's when OJ is with the horse further out from his house and he sees down in the gulch the lights at Jupe's place and he hears him talking on the mic. And so I thought that was an earlier thing of his show. Turns out it was him rehearsing. And when they first walk in here, Jupe's wife is like, oh, hey, we're having the premiere of a new show and like a friends and family
preview night. Yeah.
So that shows that the tragedy that happens later is the first public iteration of it, as opposed to a rehearsal.
Noise you can hear his monologue. Like seeing this again, you realize, okay, it's his like little monologue that he's practicing.
Where it's like in 1 hour, your lives will be changed.
Yeah, you'll leave
which is also
different.
When the movie has 1 hour left to it.
Shut up.
I think so. That's why I've heard. I didn't independently verify, but someone said that when he says in 1 hour you will leave here different is when there's an hour left to the movie.
That's so good. We get these little title cards that are all the names of the animals in the movie. So this first one is Ghost, and that's our first kind of sighting of this creature, alien, we kind of assume. OJ sees it. I think Emerald just kind of hears it, or she knows something fucking was going on outside.
Well, because she's dancing to music and the power goes out.
Yeah. It kind of goes.
Takes her a little bit long to react to the power.
It's so
like
funny.
So dark, and she's still
dancing.
and then she's like, what?
I don't know if it's this scene, but I mean, the music in this is great. I like that the one song that starts playing, I think she's put on the record players, Walk On By, it's Dionne Warwick, but I just like, it's Walk On By. The lyrics are literally like, if you see me, don't look at me, keep walking, kind of.
Oh, and then I just realized later a song very prominently featured is I Wear My Sunglasses at Night. You wouldn't be able to see if you're wearing your sunglasses at night. Yeah, okay.
Hey, want to talk to you about our first sponsor this week, Dadgrass. Look, it's too damn hot out to be too high. It's just not a fun combination, just too warm and sweaty, and you're also way too stoned. I hate it, it's disgusting, and no thank you. If you want something a little more chill this summer, Dadgrass is legal organic hemp that relaxes your body and mellows your mind. So you get to enjoy the effects of CBD while keeping a nice clear head. It's made of 100% organic hemp that's easy to dose and the effects come on smooth. They've got a variety of products from their token smokable pre-rolled joints as well as hemp flower and a variety of CBD tincture drops. And the best part, all Dadgrass products are federally legal for ages 18 and over, and it ships right to your door anywhere in the US. If you want to relax this summer without feeling like you're melting, right now Dadgrass is offering our listeners 20% off your first order when you go to dadgrass.com/deadmeat. Go to dadgrass.com/deadmeat for 20% off your first order. One more time, that's dadgrass.com/deadmeat. Our next sponsor this week is Babbel. So stop me if you've heard this one before. You took French, German, Spanish, or some other language in high school or college, but it's been so long since you've taken it you can barely remember a thing. That happened to me with German. I actually minored in it in college, and it's amazing how quickly I forgot it and just couldn't really speak it anymore. But it is amazing how quickly it does come back. I did start taking more lessons as an adult, and you will remember it. It all kind of comes flooding back. Babbel's 15-minute lessons make it the perfect way to learn a language on the go, whether you do already kind of know something or you're totally new. Their lessons were created by over 100 language experts, and their teaching method has been scientifically proven to be effective. With Babbel, you can choose from 14 different languages, including Spanish, French, Italian, and German. Plus, Babbel's speech recognition technology helps you to improve your pronunciation and accent. In addition to lessons, they also have podcasts, games, videos, stories, and even live classes. Plus, it comes with a 20-day money-back guarantee. Start your new language learning journey today with Babbel. Right now, save up to 60% off your subscription when you go to babbel.com/deadmeat. That's babbel.com/deadmeat for up to 60% off your subscription. Babbel, language for life. Our last sponsor this week is Fume. I have so many friends and loved ones who've tried to quit smoking, and it seems so difficult. It's like giving up any habit. When it's that ingrained, it's not as easy as just stopping. If you're a smoker and you're thinking of quitting, or you already have tried quitting, you've got to check out Fume. Fume is a natural inhaler designed for a better, safer, and more natural way to quit cigarettes. It's a no smoke, no vape, and no nicotine replacement for the hand-to-mouth habit of smoking. Fume is made of 100% Canadian maple and uses cores infused with plant oils studied to curb cravings. Their flavors are really nice. I did get to try some even though I'm not a smoker. They have flavors like peppermint and conker, which has minty notes to simulate menthol cigarettes, and other flavors like lemon berry bliss for a sweeter experience. Quitting is really hard, but Fume can really help. So whether you're a smoker or ex-smoker who still struggles with cravings, Fume is the perfect tool for you. It's time to create positive habits and quit naturally with Fume, and we're here to make it easier. Right now, if you head to breathefume.com/deadmeat and use promo code DEADMEAT, you are going to save 10% off your entire order. That's 10% off your entire order when you head to breathefum.com/deadmeat and use code DEADMEAT.
Yeah, Ghost gets out and he has to chase him down because Ghost is spooked by this thing that he looks up and he sees this thing flying around.
Does Ghost
I think Ghost get
eaten?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
I think it gets away because he comes back and she's like, "Where's Ghost?"
And he's like,
Yeah. I like that immediately. She's like, "Okay, I believe there's none of the bullshit.
Yeah,
like, convince me."
I like their relationship a lot.
Yeah, and I know, because like in the beginning of the movie when they're going back to the ranch, she's like, "Can I get fun OJ up in here? Like, I don't know who this OJ is." Clearly.
And also the whole movie is so he takes everything so seriously that I wouldn't see any reason to not believe. Like, he's not the type of character that's just going to be making stuff up. So they go to Fry's Electronics in Burbank, California.
Yo, that Fry's is where we bought our first TV when we moved out here. It has the alien out there.
Yeah, that's like that, because every Fry's Electronics is a different theme. And the one by us, our Fry's, is this alien abduction theme. I think at one corner of it looks like a 50s kitchen, and it's all like
it's very Roswell, the whole thing.
So good. Man,
I laughed so
you could
hard.
hear, I remember at the premiere, you could hear like when they showed the Fry's, because everyone in that audience has been there for like cables and shit. So they're talking about, okay, we're gonna set up all these cameras and we'll capture whatever this is, and we'll be able to get the money shot, basically, the Oprah shot, they call it. That's the thing that's going to get us on Oprah. And that's when they meet Angel, who works at Fry's. He's great. Brandon Perea, I think you say his name.
I think so. I'm not sure. He is a relative newcomer.
Oh, yeah.
Props to him for getting to stand alongside all these fucking other actors.
He's really funny in this. I think he's really good.
He is. He does feel the most like he's acting to me.
Sure.
Maybe the least effortless to me. But he also has, his character is the most over the top written.
Yes.
So he's the biggest.
His character is pretty often comedic relief.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, Keke Palmer is also, but
yeah.
Angel is just going through a bad breakup.
Oh my, he's so funny because
she booked a pilot.
She booked a CW pilot.
Fucking CW.
So he basically, at first they're like, no, we can set all this stuff up on our own, and he's like, okay, sure, doubt it, but and then he says something. They say like, okay, so this won't go out if like the power goes out or anything, right? And he basically is like, I don't know why you would need this that badly unless you're in like a weird kind of UFO hotspot. And
no, it's because they're talking about like their cell phones go out too, and he's like, it doesn't work that way unless UFO hotspot.
And then cut to he's at their place with them, going to help set everything up. My favorite is when he opens the van, he just screams randomly, and he's like, I'm sorry, like I'm going through some shit.
And yeah, they're trying to get a shot of the alien.
Yeah.
So that they can be rich and famous for life. That's what Keke Palmer wants. Like, that's why they need this Oprah shot. Is it's our moment to be rich and famous for life. That is her goal. That is what she wants.
Yeah.
And real easy way to do it. Just take a picture. Grab some video footage. And then you don't have to do the work of training horses, and because like they talk about the night before, they're talking about how their dad. She says he changed the industry and that's real. And that, that's, he put in the work. He did that thing. And she even says that's real, as opposed to, I think, a lot of criticisms lobbied at like social media influencers are like, get a real job.
Right.
Like we even get that.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Which is like, get a real job. And so she even knows, at least on a subconscious level, that what she's trying to do isn't as real as what her dad did.
Well, because even near the end of the film, Angel, you can tell, feels this way too, because he says something when they're all kind of sitting around. He's like, this like makes,
we're doing something good.
We're doing something good by, because this proves something. This will help people. It's just the justification of we're not just doing this for ourselves.
And no one can answer.
No one answers. Yeah.
Like, I don't even know if anyone even like nods their head.
I think they're just like kind of
just like yeah.
Sure, dude. To kind of lure out this alien, M goes to Jupiter's claim and just steals one of the like fake horses out front.
Yeah, he has a bunch of plastic horses with flags.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited for when I do the kill count to hang one of those pendant things from the ceiling.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
So she goes and steals one of those, and she sets it up, and sure enough, Jupe I'm sure is like, okay, my horse is missing. Gonna go check out the only people who have a horse-sized trailer to go pull that around in.
This scene is so funny. He pulls up far from there. She's like, okay, you can stay there though.
Yeah, stay right there.
So they're just yelling
They say
back
it's a
and forth.
decoy for horse training. It's clearly Jupe's horse.
Angel tries to help. Like, okay, you can go now. He's like, you don't
live here, dude. Jupe's like, okay, whatever. I'll invite you to my show then. So if you guys want to come.
His physical acting when it blows out of his hand is so funny. And then the thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Erica and I can't stop saying
the thumbs up. Yeah. Thumbs up.
up.
Should I do it too? Yeah, just do it. Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
I love he starts to ask where they got that, and Keke cuts him off. We're like, where'd you get yours?
Get yours from?
I don't know.
I don't know what she's thinking, because clearly that horse is
With the
missing
flags,
with
yeah.
the flag. Like, if you're gonna call out any plot holes, it's this. I'm like, you're silly, but you're not dumb. I don't know what you're thinking you're gonna get away with.
Well, I guess she's
here.
just banking on him being too nice of a guy to
maybe
do that, which he seems to be. Yeah.
Or she's just figuring, maybe she just wasn't figuring he's gonna go come there and
Immediately.
Yeah, and I think maybe she's thinking this alien's gonna gobble this thing up before
sure.
he realizes it's gone. So we cut to our next segment. Clover, it's another one of the horses. This is when Em is watching this Oprah interview. She's like falling asleep in this little trailer she lives in, watching this Oprah interview, and that's when a woman, and it's like, oh, I didn't have ruby slippers to get home with. OJ, I noticed he was making his own version of the VFX ball at home with
the
a plunger.
Yeah.
So I think he was maybe thinking, I'm going to train the horses to get used to this kind of thing.
Oh, okay. I was wondering, because I was like, wait, do I not remember this coming back later?
It
And
doesn't.
I don't think it does.
I think
but...
it's just him doing his job and
Yeah,
thinking,
doing
you
the
gotta,
work.
yeah, exactly.
And like, oh, there's this maybe newer thing on set that these horses aren't used to. Let's get them used. That's a great call.
Yeah. So he hears, I think he just hears a noise in the barn, and he goes to where all the horses are. And this scene is so great. This got the biggest reaction when we were at the premiere. Everyone was losing it. He kind of looks into the darkness of this stable, and it took me a second to see it. It was great because you could hear people in the audience just individually like, oh fuck, like start to see it, and it was like this weird ripple effect until I finally saw it too. There's this little alien, and it's just crouching in the darkness, and it stands up all slow, and it's got this creepy body language, and
then it leans, and then another one
Another
leans
one
out of a
leans
closer
out of a
door.
stable.
Such a good scare.
our good friend Danny Jacobs pointed out that he thinks that this sequence is Jordan Peele's way of saying, I could make this movie if I
could make a
wanted to.
Signs horror
I
movie.
could make this a straightforward alien movie if I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what this is, but here's what this movie could be.
And it's scary.
It is. It's
that
fucking
lean
terrifying.
is great. I love it.
They're creepy designs. I really like that the alien costumes and the body language of the kids is very chimp-like.
Mm-hmm.
It's got this kind of fluffy black texture to it.
It looks like the 2001
It does.
Monkeys.
Yeah,
Another
and
sci-fi.
the way
like,
they are
seminal
kind
film.
of hunched over and using their arms, and even when the one kind of leans out of that stable door, it feels very monkey-like. It's so great.
Yeah, when a third one, he's like trying to get footage for his Oprah
Yeah.
shot with his little flip phone. Of course, OJ doesn't have a smartphone. He has this old ass phone, which is gonna have like a fucking potato quality video, and like the head
little
peeking
head
around the
peeking
corner,
out.
taking so long because first you're seeing its big ass like head and forehead until its eyes get around the corner.
And that's when there's like a jump scare, and there's one behind him that he just punches in the face.
Yeah, it's good. Does he say nope here as well? I think he might
Yes.
say nope and like nope, I'm getting out of there during the lean. I think. Yeah, he punches a kid in the face. It's Jupe's 3 sons.
Yeah, don't mess with Jupiter's claim.
Yeah, because they're getting payback for stealing the horse, which is so funny because Em runs in and he's like, "It's Jupe's kids." She's like, "Oh, they're pranking Haywood."
Yeah, like, oh, they're declaring war on us.
Oh, it's on. You stole their horse. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. After this sequence with the kids in the barn, Em and OJ call. This is so fun. They call the DP, the director of photography from that thing that they were working on with the horse.
The antlers.
Antlers Holst.
Yeah, they call him Ant.
Because they think, well, if anyone can help us get this shot of this alien, this like really famous cinematographer can. And it's so funny. He's like, how did you get this number? Oh, we got it from the call sheet.
It's so fucking real.
That's the most real thing. Oh man. For a while, it's not his phone number anymore, but I put George Clooney's phone number in my phone.
From the call sheet.
It went to his office, so like it was
okay.
not his phone number after like 6 months or whatever, but I just liked having it.
Yeah, they call him and ask if he can get the impossible shot for him. This is one joke that I don't like, where he's like, that's impossible. Like, can you get the impossible shot for us? That's impossible. It's one joke that doesn't work for me, but whatever.
Also, what is he editing?
He's editing a nature documentary about animals. Because
But
there's
like the footage is crazy looking.
it's like an octopus fighting a crab or something.
And it looks like weird found creepy footage. It's like
It
all
does,
old
yeah.
looking. I don't know what is going on there.
But I do love also that they're like, well, we can't afford to pay you too much. And he's like, that's okay. I do one for them so I can do one for me. And like one for them, one for me is so it's the Soderbergh approach.
Yeah.
It's the Steven Soderbergh will make like a big popular movie and then make fucking the girlfriend experience or whatever like thing that he wants to make.
Malignant also was a one for them, one for me.
Yeah, I'll make your Aquaman if I can make this weird
can make
fucking thing.
Malignant,
It's
yeah.
fucking kill counts for me. It's like, all right, I'll fucking do your Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but I'm gonna do Blackula too.
Sure. Antlers Holst is kind of a cool name because Holst specifically is a composer
Yeah,
who
Gustav
did
Holst,
the
the Planets,
planets.
yeah.
So I was
My favorite
curious.
pieces of classical music. That's probably, I bet actual musicians are like, yeah, okay.
Sure, dude. Yeah. Right. Like my favorite
pedestrian
movie,
shit.
Citizen Kane. Like, which
Yeah,
is
right.
Citizen Kane's great, but it's like, you know what I mean. Interesting things about Gustav Holst. He resented his fame. He reminds me a bit of OJ. It sounds like he was just a genuinely like really hardworking composer who just loved doing his job. Actually lectured for a while and taught at the University of Michigan, which I thought was
Go
crazy
Blue.
in like the 1920s.
Nice.
But he constantly throughout his life resented whenever he he personally got attention
Wow.
for his work. And what I thought also was kind of neat is maybe it's a coincidence. Again, who knows if I'm reading too far into this, but it's cool that this is the case. When he first premiered The Planets, they didn't have him play the whole thing because it would be long, and they're like, oh, we can't, people won't sit through it, right? So they had him end the movements at Jupiter. That was the last one he played. It cut off there. And he specifically said he hated this. This is a quote from his daughter. Her father hated incomplete performances of the planets, that on several occasions he had to agree to conduct 3 or 4 movements at Queen's Hall concerts. He particularly disliked having to finish with Jupiter to make a happy ending, for, as he himself said, in the real world, the end is not happy at all. And I think it's a cool coincidence, if anything.
And if you're like, who the fuck are they talking about? You've heard Mars.
Yes.
It's dun 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 dun.
How does Jupiter go? Because I couldn't listen to it because I was reading that in bed last night.
I feel like, and I might be wrong, but I feel like that starts with like. I hope I'm not wrong.
Anyway, I
I've
just thought,
listened to that suite so many times.
because I was like, Holst is like, that's a specific last name for this character. And then I found it so interesting. There was also this like weird Jupiter thing where it's like this false.
You know what? Actually, that might make more sense. I couldn't understand because Michael Wincott, who plays Holst, has this incredible voice. It is sometimes you feel it more than you hear it. So I didn't catch every word. I can't wait to watch this movie with subtitles. And as we were saying, we were just watching The Crow, where he's 26 years younger and he's got this fucking middle part long straight hair. And
It
he's
was
the
like an
big
anime
bad.
character.
It's fucking
awesome.
cool. Anyway, he says before hanging up on her, because they don't get him right away. He says, this dream of yours where you end up on top of the mountain, all eyes on you. And I think he says, it's the dream I never wake up from.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's just like his namesake. He's saying like, you want this fame. I have it. It's a dream I never wake up from. And the way he says it makes it sound like he doesn't like it.
Yeah, like he's someone who maybe values the work.
And that's why he does one for them, one for me, so he can do the one for me.
And that's what he rolls his eyes at her, saying like, "Oh, in this American Cinematographer magazine, they say that you know this really effusive praise," and he's just like, ugh, whatever.
Yeah, he hates it. He just wants to make his weird little octopus snuff films.
Yeah. That's interesting.
The fact that he is a nature photographer, as evidenced by whatever he's like in a fucking like makeshift video village in a jungle or something,
he's in
watching
like a
dailies.
jungle, dude. I don't know
man.
where he's at. He probably just lives like really far up in the hills, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Boy, okay, so Angel, this is when Angel shows up at their farm and is like freaking out, and he's like, wait, you guys haven't noticed, because he's been watching their footage. He's like, he has like a line.
Yeah, we
at
didn't mention
Fry's.
like the praying
He has
mantis.
a command station at Fry's that he can just like watch there.
Yeah, and apparently his coworker actress is like
She's
a
in Euphoria, yeah.
Yeah.
She is the one who that sex tape of her leaks, and she just decides to own
That's
it.
her?
Yeah.
How old is she? Because she looks way different in what we saw than she does in Nope. And I'm wondering, was she like a teenage? Is she at the age where a few years makes a big difference in
I have no
appearance?
idea.
Wow.
I think she also has a lot more makeup on in this, because she's kind of goth.
Sure.
chick looking
And I
around.
believe that maybe some of her scenes were cut. There is more to this movie than what
There's
we
apparently
get.
like a 4-hour long cut of this.
Yeah,
I
because
would
there are
watch it.
shots in the trailer that
Yes,
aren't
there's
in the
all
movie.
kinds of stuff in the trailer that isn't
With, like,
in
a
this.
st-
There's like a stalker or
A stalker
something.
of Jupe, right? He's like
No, he's a stalker of the girl.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
If you see this guy with glasses in the trailer on the set, on the lot during like the Gordy stuff.
He's apparently the one who shoots Gordy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What?
I don't know.
What's amazing to me is how much this movie works as it's cut.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Like, I don't need anything else, but I would watch it.
I would watch it. I wonder if it would be like an Apocalypse Now Redux version where it's like you don't need the French
You
plantation.
don't need the French plantation, but
sometimes you're in the
sure.
mood to get a little bit extra when you're watching it.
I think the original cut's better than Redux.
Oh yeah.
I think
used
do
to
most
like
people
Redux,
think
but-
that?
I don't.
You like Redux
Ooh,
more?
Oh, hot takes.
All right. I don't know if that's a hot take.
I think it adds colonialism.
Yeah, sure.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I would rewatch that.
Yeah.
I've seen that so many
When we
times.
have a date. Yes, and this is when OJ says, "What if it's not a ship?"
Yeah, well, so what it is that the reason Angel's freaking out is he's like, okay, play back this footage, and they all realize this cloud in the sky hasn't moved.
It's
all
a real
day.
cool shot with the other clouds
It's pretty
moving
cool,
around it. And
Yeah, so
through
that's,
it.
when OJ says, well, what if it's not a ship? What if it's just a being? Like, what if it's just one entity? That's, okay, so our next sequence is Gordy.
Mm-hmm.
And this, I think, kicks off this and the next sequence, because technically the other Steven Yeun stuff happens during the sequence that starts with Lucky. So, like, I feel like the next two sequences are just the scariest stretch of this movie. What's weird is I saw a lot of reviews kind of saying this one's less scary than it's less horror movie than his other ones. It's more sci-fi. But honestly, there's parts of this that really fucking scared me.
Oh, for sure.
And this
I think,
is one of them.
Yeah. What's interesting about this movie is that, this middle part is the most scary. The last act is much more of an adventure.
Yes,
like
it's fun.
Jaws, Tremors, like plan to take down this beast. But this middle part with Gordy and Lucky, they're
It's a
scary.
nightmare, yeah.
This movie's definitely not. Us is the most horror movie of his movies that he's done.
Yeah.
Just straightforward horror. With Get Out being more of like a psychological thriller, whatever. And then this, but they all have those horror elements, and this stuff is terrifying.
So we get the full kind of sequence of the sitcom leading up to what it makes Gordy snap. It's this balloon that pops.
A bunch of balloons.
Yeah, it's a bunch of balloons start popping. They hit the studio lights. They pop.
They get hot. They float up in the air and they pop.
Yeah.
And that sets off Gordy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also kind of the cycle of fame a little bit. You float up and you're hot, and then it all just comes crashing down on you.
Yeah, it's fun to see. Whereas in the very beginning of the movie, you hear these lines, you don't see anything. It's fun to actually see them performed by the fucking sitcom actors. It's great. I think the woman who plays the mom follows Dead Meat on Twitter.
No way!
I think so, because I got a follow from a verified person. I checked out, it was like, nope. And I was like, I don't remember this act. And then I looked, I was like, oh, I think she's...
I saw the dad was tweeting too about how excited he was about
Oh,
this.
yeah?
So-
What a
my
fun
God.
part to
Let's
have.
get that whole family following us on Twitter. Oh man. So the chimp loses it. A lot of people tweeted at me reminding me to mention Travis the chimp. That's the pet chimp, or like that was a real, like, was that the Xanax chimp? I feel like it had to be, where the woman like tried to calm him down by giving him Xanax, and it just made it like...
Yeah, there's a real life incident with a chimp named Travis who ended up mauling his owner and I think eating part of her face off. And so she required and her hands, I believe.
Yeah.
She required extensive plastic surgery to help mitigate the effects of that. And she revealed her face on Oprah. Actually, I think it was Oprah, wasn't
was it?
pretty sure it was fucking God damn it, Jordan Peele. And she wore a veil in real life, just like the veil of the young actress in this movie who shows up later for Stephen Yeun's Family and Friends show. She's wearing a veil in the audience. And, there were so many people who were... that woman is featured in the trailer, the shot of her with the veil. And so many people were like, who is that? Is that like an alien or some shit? I never thought that. I mean, granted,
No.
I didn't watch the trailer over
I
and
only
over.
watched the first trailer. And I thought, like, is this like an effect of whatever this thing? Because, like, I think it was like the wind also kind of blew. I was like, what the fuck is that? I thought it was like, did she age really fast? Are we on the old beach?
Oh,
like,
right,
what's happening
yeah.
here?
But no, it's a woman with a veil covering over the scars from this animal attack.
I was looking at photos of like the actual. It looks like that. Like that's just.
It looks like that after extensive surgery.
Yeah.
Because I think when she first shows Oprah, it looks like worse than that, and
Yeah.
it's so sad.
I think this is like the most disturbing part of this movie, honestly, is when we kind of see her feet sticking out and she's like, dude, she sounds so fucking scared. Like even just that one line, this actress just like, I got chills everywhere, and he just starts fucking eating her face, man.
Yeah, all of Gordy's attacks are thankfully done off screen
Yes.
or obscured by
Yeah,
furniture.
you don't see it, but
like
it's
you hear it,
it's
and
scarier,
it's
honestly.
It's much scarier, yeah. And then the dad actor comes
Yeah.
down and tries to like calm, but he's running around and like freaking out, and Gordy attacks and I think kills him.
Yeah, I think he gets killed.
yeah.
What's interesting is like, why is the actor dad the one? Like, where the fuck did everyone else go?
Right? And you see some movement in the stands.
Yeah, I
in
think
the
there's
background.
crew hiding back
Crew
there.
or audience, like studio audience,
Yeah.
who are like just too
hiding.
afraid to make a run for it and are just like back there kind of hiding from Gordy. Whereas young Jupe here is sitting underneath the table like we saw earlier. And I noticed this too the first time we watched it, that in the first flashback shot of him, he had the blood on the side of his face, and here he does not while he's watching the attack. 'cause
that
it's
was
not-
after the-
That's
yeah,
after Gordy
good,
gets
yeah.
shot. But he's looking through this plastic, like yellow plastic hanging over tablecloth. And, it's goes with the theme of not looking the beast in the eye.
Yeah.
Because he and Gordy aren't making direct eye contact. It's kind of obscured by this tablecloth. Also, before that even, he's kind of focused on this shoe that is standing upright. And yeah, a lot of people are like, what's with the shoe? Bless some people. They're like, so does that mean the alien was above this and
Stop.
the gravitational, and that's why Gordy freaked out? Was it an alien thing? No. The shoe, I think, is just
It's the bad miracle. It's like, it's this, what a random thing to happen in the middle of this that is just so peculiar and weird.
It has a
and-
1 in a billion chance of landing like that, but it
did.
It did.
Yeah.
And that's what he focuses on.
And that's also something clearly that he remembers and maybe was the initial spark of, I can start collecting stuff.
He has that shoe.
He has the shoe in his
shrine
exhibit.
that he charges a Dutch couple $50,000 to stay the night in.
Right.
He won't ask questions.
So I think it's just the seed of that future version of himself where to cope with this, he chooses to profit from it.
Yeah, and like I said, maybe looking at the shoe for a while instead of Gordy helps save his life because he's not looking at Gordy. There's also the matter of if he's seeing the shoe and he's recognizing that it's miraculous that it landed like that, that might give him, build him up as like, I'm special for surviving this. Whereas he doesn't realize that Gordy has maybe just naturally calmed down because the balloons have stopped popping by the time Gordy sees him and has calmed down and he doesn't attack him. Maybe he's just calmed down, or it's because he's not seeing him directly. There's the barrier of the tablecloth, but he goes in for a fist bump.
Well, the Richard Newby article also points out too, like we were discussing earlier, where Jupe is kind of this token character, like this, oh, it's funny because, he's Asian kind of thing. And he thinks that there's this almost unspoken like empathy, like Gordy, there's this connection that Gordy has with him that he can't have with any of the other cast, because Gordy almost sees in this kid like a similar,
otherness, the
they're
difference,
othered.
yeah.
They're used to, they're used in a different way of entertaining versus these other actors. They are less than.
The Gordy getting shot is fucking
it's
jarring and upsetting.
And like Gordy did nothing wrong. Gordy's an animal, you know? And it's so sad. No, I'm serious. Like, it's, you know, like it's a chimp.
Yeah, it's an amoral creature.
Right, it's
it
a
can't
chimp.
be moral or immoral.
It reacted the way it did because it's a chimp. Mm-hmm.
Much like this alien is reacting in his way because it's an animal.
It's an animal. Like, it's not, like, it makes me sad. The fist bump, like, breaks my heart,
The exploding fist bump, it's called.
Yeah.
He says that's the first ever exploding fist bump. And Jordan Peele tweeted out the intro to Gordy's Home,
It's so
which is
good.
it's great. It's a little...
Too many cooks?
It's it's more of an 80s sitcom.
It is.
Than like
it
a
wouldn't be a
98.
90s
yeah,
sitcom, but
because
I
like, but it doesn't matter. It's still fucking great. But that ends with them doing a fist bump with like the moon in the background or some shit. And so the exploding fist bump, they go for it, and fucking Gordy's head explodes.
Yeah. In that sequence, we go into Lucky, the next sequence. OJ realizes, okay, he puts it together because he sees the flyer on the ground for the Star Lasso
Under some
experience under some poop. And that's what he puts together. Oh, fuck. That's why he wanted this horse, is to feed it to this alien. And then he says, which I like, I'm going to get lucky.
So yes, this is Stephen Yeun. He had just been shown in his office, like when he had that flashback, he just has these, 1,000-yard stares, but he has to rehearse this thing that we saw him rehearsing. Let's run through it one more time, his wife says. Mm-hmm. And so now it's show day, the Star Lasso experience.
Oh, he's got such a good suit on. I'm obsessed with this suit.
I need this suit for the kill count.
It's so good.
It's so fucking good.
This bright red suit. It's all sparkly. It's got like a bedazzled UFO on the back.
Yep.
Fuck, it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite little touch in this scene is this show that he's doing. He just has like these teenage employees running the tech, and the like one employee doing the sound on the laptop where there's no fade. It's just like space bar, pause this song, space bar, play the next song.
I also find it funny that he's like, yeah, let's give it up for like the yahoos who work for me, and they're all cheering. Then he's like, all right, that's enough. Like he like kind of shuts it down.
He wants to be the star.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in his monologue, Jupe says that him and his wife, I think, were out with he specifically says a chestnut horse called Trigger. Mm-hmm. And that's such a cool little reference for all our silent generation peeps in the audience.
It's for you, Joe.
It's for you, Joe. Trigger was Roy Rogers' horse, honestly, maybe the most famous actor horse of all time. Mm-hmm. A chestnut-colored horse that starred in like a gajillion movies. I just thought it was like a neat... I don't even know if he has a horse called Trigger. I could honestly see this character just using that as like, especially because it's all Western themed and stuff. It's a neat
legend.
Yeah, it's a neat little nod.
But apparently that was the first horse that I guess was eaten or taken by what he thinks. He doesn't realize this is an animal.
No, he thinks it's aliens.
Aliens in a ship. He calls them the viewers.
The viewers. Which,
very on brand.
Wink,
with
wink.
All the theme.
Also, earlier, Angel says when he's talking about aliens, he's like, the little guys with the big eyes, they're looking at you. They're viewers, right?
Yeah, he says the viewers have yet to emerge from their ship, so he does think it's a ship.
And he says, at 6:13 that night, which, if you remember, 6 minutes and 13 seconds is the length of the Gordy rampage. Mm-hmm. But 6:13 p.m., that's when he sees the saucer.
And you know what? And just like you said with Trigger, wondering if that's actually his horse name, I wonder if that was actually the time, or if he is just using that to embellish his own legend.
Isn't that crazy? The coincidence. This must be kind of destined to be, I have this connection, I'm special. Right?
Yeah, so he's trying to put on a show where they're gonna feed this horse, Lucky, to the ship, but Lucky doesn't want to leave.
Yeah.
And the ship has been real messed up after consuming that plastic horse, because that thing is stuck in its digestive system, and it's been throwing him off a lot.
Yeah.
So it comes in, and
it's probably like hungrier than it normally. That's why it shows up early, probably.
Yeah, so it shows up early, and when Lucky won't leave, his wife says trained animals can be unpredictable. Another theme throughout, obviously. Yeah. Gordy.
What they're trying to do with these aliens.
With this alien, yeah. And this alien comes in, and
one thing I want to note before all these people get sucked up in one of the most horrifying sequences I've seen lately. The actor, speaking of my kind of the motif of like balloons and hot air, and honestly, even they're in a hot air balloon, the Wizard of Oz, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They like
Right?
leave in a hot air balloon with the wizard at one point.
At least in the fucking.
or at least they try to leave, and then she clicks her heels.
There's definitely a hot air balloon.
There
in there.
is a hot air balloon.
'Cause I can remember Depp in one of the Burton movies, like the second Alice. Or wait, am I thinking of Alice?
You're thinking of the James Franco one.
No, yeah, that's it. I'm thinking of the James Franco wizard.
Sam Raimi one.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And
Oz
yeah,
the
he's
Great
in the
and
fucking hot
Powerful.
air balloon
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
So yeah, the child actress who's at this show has a hot air balloon like pin on her shirt. And it's also just, the motif of like hot air and things not being anything.
She also has a shirt, and this is the
With a
actress
picture of herself on it.
of her younger self, and it's that like living off that fame that you got as a kid,
Yeah.
and kind of
also
exploiting your
just-
own image.
This is what I actually am.
Yeah,
It's sad, man.
It's
This character
super
makes
sad.
me real sad.
and yeah, he introduces her as like his co-star in First Crush, which is sweet, but like she's there, decked out in this fucking Gordy's home
she's
stuff.
she's on like a scooter.
Yeah.
It's
oh man.
fucking tragic. And then this thing just vacuums all these people up.
And they're all screaming except for Steven, who's just looking up, and his face is just like, is it the realization that he fucked up?
I think it is. I think it is like
I'm not special.
I'm not special.
Yeah.
And they all get sucked up into this fucking bounce house of nightmares. Like the texture inside this thing made me so uncomfortable because it feels like I feel like it looks like a deflating bounce house or something, or like.
And the shot of it, like being a profile view of these people being pulled up into this tube.
They're all
They're all
screaming.
slimy and sweaty.
You can see there's it's almost like Killer Clowns. There's like a weird kind of mummified looking horse in there.
No, it's the plastic horse that's
Oh,
blocking
it is
its digestive
the plastic
tract.
horse.
Yeah.
Oh, I just thought it was like a horse.
So
that
this
he
thing
ate.
is trying to eat, but that fucking plastic horse has been preventing him. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that was the
Oh
plastic
man,
one.
that shot is just horrific. And this, Stephen Yeun's character, the reason why he's my favorite is because like the way we're talking about him, you might think like, oh, so he's a bad guy, and like, I don't know, he's fucking up and he's exploiting things, but he also is a product of this system.
He's an American.
Yeah.
Like
He's a fucking cowboy.
He literally is. He's all like cowboy aesthetic. It's like such American dream shit. He's got a wife and 3 kids. And he's doing what we all kind of tell ourselves to do, especially in America, is like, just, it's all about pursuing its profit and success at the expense of all else, honestly.
Yeah.
And exceptionalism. He thinks he's special.
Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think he's malicious.
No.
Just misguided and tragic. Like, this whole fucking scene is so fucked up, man. And this is the end of the horror part of the movie, I'd say.
Yeah.
Is you see those people get...
I don't know. There is like the house with the blood.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah, the house being drenched by a blood downpour. You're right. That might be a little bit horrific. I just feel like this movie could have taken this turn and stuck down this path of being horrific and terrifying, but it doesn't. It detours into the horror and then comes back out and becomes like a fun adventure movie.
Like saucer, the creature makes its way over to the Haywood house, and this is the scene where it's Daniel Kaluuya like in his car, just kind of
because he got lucky back.
Yeah, he went and got lucky from
because he respects his animals. He treats them as beings, not just things to be profited from.
Right. So he goes and gets the horse, and now he's just sitting in this car, and this thing is just over their house, and this is he's waiting there. And then he kind of sticks his head out and just nope, just shuts the door. And
huge laugh in the theater.
Yeah, at first, I remember the first time I saw this sequence, I was like, he's just kind of sitting, like, what are we kind of do? Like, this felt like, are we spinning our wheels? Like, what's going on? And I think the second time it made me realize a little bit how, like, in horror movies, I think people complain about characters being dumb, or you yell at the screen for characters to do stuff, or the idea that, like, if that was me, I would just leave kind of thing. And this is the version of a horror movie where the character does that, and you realize it's not very exciting to watch.
Because he locks the door and he sleeps
And
overnight in the car.
And he sits there.
Yeah.
And he does what you would do because you're smart, right? And you would be the person saying nope and just waiting. And it's like, oh, wait, it's not a very interesting move if the whole thing is this. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think we've made it clear. If you've seen the movie, obviously it is when the alien's around, electronics don't work.
Right.
So that's why he can't just drive away. Electronics and mechanical things. Angel and M are in the house, and one of my favorite things is it's storming, right? It's raining, and this
They
thing.
can hear it screaming to all the screams.
All those screams from all those people up there, but it comes over the house, and they realize it because now the rain isn't just outside the window, it's further out because this thing is blocking the rain. Like the rain, it's a little umbrella. He calls it the umbrella monster later. So I just love that visual. And then this thing is like, I can't eat these people, or I'm trying to digest whatever. Somehow silence from all the screams, and then blood.
Yeah, just barfs them all out.
Just fucking.
It's disgusting.
Carrie White's the house.
Yeah.
Blood everywhere. It's awesome. Again, you see, tying back to that opening scene, keys and small things coming out. You're like, oh, okay, this is what happens.
The actress's like scooter ends up on the roof.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, they leave for a little while. They go to Angel's apartment. They play VR.
They're like playing on these VR helmets,
Yeah.
which OJ isn't because he's not the, okay, let's just pretend that this doesn't exist.
Yeah, they don't even
kind
want
of
to talk about it. And he's like, no, we have to.
We have to go back and, yeah.
While this scene, they're in this fast food place that I mentioned was also in Us. There's like a fight
Yes,
outside.
I wrote this down. I was like, there's this fight between soccer teams.
I think
or
it's
something
baseball
outside?
players. Yeah. And I think it's there's two baseball teams, and one of them is from out of town. And so I think it's just a territorial thing.
Yeah.
It's a fight over the territory.
Okay.
They're like, get out of here. This isn't your place. And it's like this animal has marked its
Oh,
territory
that's
as the
interesting.
ranch.
Because I
think
did
that's
write
the
that down
connection.
with a bunch of question marks. I like that explanation.
Yeah, just a little thing, That's the fucking fun thing about Peele movies. Just little things that tie into the themes.
Yeah, yeah. M's gonna walk away, but then at that moment she gets a text from Michael Wincott. Mm-hmm. That's when Michael Wincott comes to the Haywood farm, and they're all kind of talking about, okay, what's our basically theories on what this thing is. Why is it here? They think it's settled down because of Jupe, because
Feeding it.
Jupe is feeding it. It's
For the
kind of
past
like
6 months, been feeding it a horse every Friday.
it's like feeding a bear or something and then being shocked when it mauls someone. Like, it's getting used to.
They say it got caught up trying to tame a predator, and Michael Wincott even mentions Siegfried and Roy.
Siegfried and Roy, yeah.
And that's it. He just says Siegfried and Roy. So if you don't know that they are the Vegas tiger trainers, and one of them got their head bitten by a tiger,
Yeah, it was, like,
survived,
mauled,
but
yeah.
was a big
Again,
thing. I remember when that happened.
Thing that when we're like, how would they ever make fun of Gordy? That's insane. But like Siegfried and Roy was
Those jokes were everywhere.
total
Yeah, that
joke
guy's
fodder.
got fucking mauled by a tiger.
Yeah, for sure.
This is when the movie goes full on Jaws and Tremors. They're sitting around, they're planning on how to defeat the beast.
Yeah, they need to get the star out of his trailer.
Yeah.
Michael Wincott
Get the
says.
star out of the trailer.
Yeah.
Michael Wincott is very much the Quint.
Such a quaint character. He's Captain Ahab. Like, it's great. He brings this non-electric. It's like a crank camera.
Oh man, and when the high
Their high
fives that they
fives
do,
are
and I
so
told you he
good,
was gonna bring
yeah.
a non-electric camera.
Yeah, yeah.
Love it.
And that's when they're kind of named for the creature's jean jacket. They name it after another horse that they had.
That was supposed to be M's.
It was supposed to be M's
but then got
horse.
used for Scorpion
King, yeah. Mm-hmm. Their plan is they use a bunch of wacky waving inflatable arm men that they get from like it's like a place down the street from
It's like a
them.
used car place
yeah.
or something, yeah.
There's a shit ton of them. And they set them all up. My favorite is Michael Wincott goes, how exquisitely stupid is that? When they're all dancing around. It's great. This is what reminded me of Tremors. Is like, let's turn this whole little town into a booby trap kind of thing.
Well, they're just trying to get this shot of it.
Yeah.
I don't think at this point they're trying to kill it or do anything.
No.
They just want to record it and get their Oprah shot.
And that's why they have the pennants on the back of Lucky, because now it knows that pennants, if it eats those, it'll get all...
It has a negative association with them after eating the plastic horse, which had those pennants around it. So, yeah, they put them on Lucky to protect it. Because even Ant is like, why don't we just feed it a horse and get the shot? And Angel's like, no, we can't. These are horse people.
Right.
Like, they respect the animal. Antler would use it just for filmic
Right.
purposes. So to protect Lucky the horse, they have those flags on. The shot of him like unveiling that is so fucking great because it's not until they're being chased that he unleashes those pennants as to ward off the creature. The wacky waving guys are all used so that they can track where it is, because when they fail, it is a sign that it is near that. So that's a way to track its movement.
Because it'll deflate. Yeah. And yeah, so they get a shot of this creature. I do like that when he's filming OJ on the horse, it looks a lot like the footage of the jockey.
Oh, yeah, which
from
we
the
didn't even
beginning.
mention.
Yeah.
And which, one of my favorite little things is in the beginning when M is giving the safety speech, she's giving it all. It's great. And she said, my great, great, great granddaddy. And then OJ's like, there's another great. And she said, another great in there. And then later you see her watching a tape of her dad doing it, and he says it the exact way she does. So she just memorized
the tape
word for
and
word.
didn't add another great because she's his daughter.
Yeah, love that.
I love it. Yeah, it's a good detail.
Yeah, this is when a guy on a motorcycle shows up, and it's like paparazzi. They call him TMZ.
TMZ, yeah.
And they mentioned this earlier as a potential danger because they say we gotta get this shot because when this gets out, people will come and try to take it all for themselves.
Right.
Because Jupe and his 40 guests disappearing has made the news.
Yeah,
people
understandably.
are wondering what
where
happened.
those people went.
And that's where this guy on the motorcycle shows up to investigate what's
And
happening.
he basically interrogates like, you're their neighbors, right? Like, what happened? Did you what were you guys doing that, just being kind of a dick about it? And she's like, we're shooting a Verizon commercial.
So
Please
funny,
leave.
yeah. And this guy is the most broad character, I think.
Yeah.
Because like he gets knocked down when his bike stops working, which is insane.
It's so great because he hits the basically the point where the creature is, therefore electronics stop working, so he hits it with his bike and just goes flying. Yeah.
And when OJ tries to help him, he's like, "Oh, did you get that on camera? Like, dude, get a picture." And so that's definitely the most broad
Again,
character.
this is, I feel like Jordan Peele is like, you have, like, how do you not understand what the movie is about by now?
This is
kind of thing.
the thing where it's like, oh, Logan Paul, you didn't understand that
It's
you're in
why
this
it's
movie.
very funny that
You're
Logan
the guy
Paul,
on the bike.
like Logan Paul is the guy on the bike.
Yeah, because he's mostly interested in, did you get that on camera? Make yourself famous by getting it on camera.
Right.
Like, oh, my body is broken, but like, let me make sure I get a selfie with it.
Yeah.
That guy gets eaten and killed.
Yes, he does. So yeah, they get a shot of this thing, but Michael Wincott's like, no, I need to get the impossible shot.
Well, no, he says we don't deserve the impossible. This is one more thing where I'm not 100% on his motivation, because he says we don't deserve the impossible, but then he does take a handheld crank camera and like gets right up into this thing sucking him up, and he's like filming it while he's getting. So I don't know what's going on.
He wants to get a shot inside of it, like being eaten by it, which is impossible.
Sure. There's also,
because think of like the footage he's editing is like of a snake eating a tiger or something.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, so what would be the impossible shot is like the act of being eaten by something. I don't know. Yeah, this whole like thing, and that's why I compared him to Captain Ahab too, is it's just like you might not get the actual shot, you might not get the kill, or like you'll be killed while you're doing the thing, but you did it, so therefore it doesn't matter if you die or not, kind of thing.
there's also a shot of him taking some pills when they're setting up, so maybe it's to indicate that he has some health issues, and maybe, that's why he's willing to sacrifice himself for kind of no reason, or to just get this shot. Like, yeah, I don't know.
I think it's an Ahab thing. I think he's obsessed with the art. He's the more extreme of OJ, where like he is all work.
Yeah.
And he will sacrifice himself for the work, and OJ won't. OJ is nope, close the door.
Okay.
So there's still he's showing that there's a spectrum of you want to do no work and the fame, or you want to do all work and
no fame.
And that's the different sides of it.
I see.
Is what I
I like, yeah, that works.
Yeah.
He's so Ahab. He's Van Helsing.
Yeah.
He's the monster hunter who's also the monster.
Yeah.
Or like even if you think of that same scale in terms of one end you have M, who is like she wants to consume the reward of this without doing the work. Literally, the other end of it is he is consumed by the work. You know?
Yeah, consumed by the work, for
Right.
sure. Well, with their footage gone, they're in a bit of a pickle. So,
Like, that guy just shows up at your house with his fucking cape or whatever on.
yeah, he's almost got like a skirt on. It's like you see a lot of leg. I like it. And he's got like the earring. I love his look in this.
So great. This is like the big kind of like cowboy sequence.
Oh
almost.
yeah, I mean yeah, the shot of this thing chasing after OJ and he unleashes the flags and the music there is so
The
fucking
score
cool.
is so good.
And
It's the most big adventure-y sounding score.
Shout out to Michael Abels, who is
my
the
gosh.
composer of Get Out and Us, and I think with this movie got to play around with themes and stuff because I'm
It's
assuming
so
he did the
great.
Jupiter's Claim music, which has been stuck in my head for weeks. But yeah, I think he's having a fun time. The alien like veers off, and you know OJ gets injured. The alien is trying to suck up Angel, but gets a lot of barbed wire. And so this, I think, is the alien is now fucked up. He has consumed a lot of stuff he shouldn't be consuming, including barbed wire. And this is when it starts to leave its flying saucer appearance,
Yeah, it
and become
starts
more like
to-
a fucking angel,
Yeah,
or a squid.
I've seen a lot of people compare it to like a biblical angel, which makes sense with like we have a biblical passage in the beginning. We have angel, literally Angel the character, and apparently I didn't know this until last night, but apparently Jordan Peele did confirm that the design of this creature was inspired by the angels in Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Oh sure.
Which are these big kind of like weird eldritch beasts.
And also, I saw this on Reddit, so I won't take credit for it, but it's interesting that the alien is now showing its true self as opposed to what it assumed people wanted it to look like, which was a flying saucer.
Sure.
And I think Gordy also removes...
Yeah, he takes the little hat off.
He knocks his hat off. He's removing the way that people want him to be seen and showing his true self
Yeah.
when he's an animal, like killing people.
Also, I think it's kind of weird that the alien, when it's in its sauce, it looks like a hat.
I thought it looked like a mushroom a little bit. Like if you take
Yeah.
a stem off a mushroom, it's like the cap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's cool. I like it a lot.
Yeah, because even if you look at the posters for Nope, when they're all kind of looking up, because Steven Yeun has like a hat on, and
Yeah.
it looks
Yeah,
the shape
yeah.
is just it looks
like a cowboy hat.
similar, yeah. And I do like. I mean, we have to point out the alien's kind of like mouth looks like a camera.
Oh, I think it might be its eye.
Is
the
it its-
green square?
oh, that makes more
maybe?
sense, yeah.
I don't know.
Or it's like its eye. Almost doesn't matter because it's like either one, it's consumption in some kind of way, whether
Sure.
you're seeing or eating something.
And yeah, so if we didn't make it clear, this thing OJ realizes later is like if you look at it directly, it'll eat you. So that's kind of how they avoid is not looking at it directly. And so now he's trying to allow M the chance to get away. So he's looking at it and she wants to save him. So she starts looking at it and this thing keeps going back and forth between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it eventually OJ, who is injured, but on a horse, which is also great little moment. You're like, how's this injured guy going to get on a horse? And it shows him taking the horse down, just like we saw his dad doing in the beginning of the movie.
Like it lays down.
It
and
lays
then
down to
you
get
can
on it. Yep,
him.
nice
Yeah.
little callback. But so she takes off and the alien starts following her.
Yeah, she does the Akira slide on the motorcycle, and it's fucking cool.
In Jupiter's Claim, yeah.
Yeah.
And then this well picture thing, which was also set up earlier, of course.
Yeah, so she unties the giant balloon of Jupe, and it I love this. It's
So good.
it's so funny. This like balloon where he's like got his little thumbs. Is he have a thumbs up or is he?
I don't know
or
what
is
he's
he
doing.
Pointing?
He's doing something.
I forget.
Yeah. If it's a thumbs up, that's hilarious.
It's very fun.
Thumbs
Yeah,
up.
I forget if it is. So she unties this balloon. It floats up into the sky, and yeah, she uses the winking well is what it's called. She puts in coins, which is interesting
Janglers.
because a wink, literally, if you think about how a camera works,
Is a wink, yeah.
is a
Shutter,
wink.
yeah.
Yeah. So she cranks this like mechanical, this like hand crank camera to take photos of it, and finally gets the money shot essentially.
Because this thing, it looks like a person, looks like it's looking at the alien. So the alien comes in.
The Jupe balloon just looks like a big person, so it eats it.
And she gets the shot, he eats it, and then the thing blows up just like the popping balloon set off Gordy, this popping balloon destroys this fucking thing. It kills it, puts it down. It's just a fucking floating corpse. It's gross.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, it's just like Gordy. It was this animal, because this was a point that you made when we left the theater the second time, how both these were animals that they were trying to train and use for their own purposes. They reverted to their animalistic nature, and then the people were like, well, gotta kill him.
We gotta, kind of like how, Lucky had to get fired because Lucky didn't do his job. And like this alien it's a creature. It's amoral. It's hungry. It realizes, oh, I can get food over here because this guy is feeding me horses every night. Okay.
Thumbs up.
I'll hang out over here. And I think it is then perfect that a version of Jupe is the same thing that kills him, because being lured in by Jupe is just this, he's doomed.
He killed Jupe. Jupe killed him, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. Yeah, it is like Gordy. We take this creature out of its habitat. We try and use it for our personal entertainment. And then when it's too much, we kill it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love the hero shot of OJ when she sees him and the dust is parting and he's there in his very bright orange hoodie. Fucking great. As we discussed with Gressel when we came out, there's never a shot of them grabbing the picture that comes out or taking the picture. It is no longer a concern as far as them. And I think that's necessary because, they have moved past the fame and fortune aspect, and they're just happy to be alive. It was the respect for the creature as a thing that allowed them to survive rather than a thing to profit off of.
Yeah, I think kind of from my understanding of both these characters by the end, I can't see either of them feeling great about profiting off of, like, they killed a pretty incredible creature.
Yeah.
Like, I think she rolls her eyes at the press that are there at the entrance which is, if that was her from the first third of this movie, she would be like, here's my, I do this, I do motorcycles. Yeah.
And Angel survived too.
Angel did survive too.
Which is nice because he seemed like a nice boy.
Yeah. I hope he finds a nice girlfriend who isn't on the CW.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's... Nope. I bet there's more we could talk about.
I know. I'm sorry for rushing at the end. It's just such a long episode, and also got a concert to go to tonight, so apologies for that, but also we didn't want to be here for 3 hours, even though we could have been. This movie fucking rules. I hope that if you were lukewarm on the movie or even didn't like it, I hope that maybe our discussion made you like it or appreciate it a little more. Yeah. That's my hope, because I can't stop thinking about this movie.
Yeah, I know. I love it. I think it's fantastic. Well, cool. I guess that's it for this week. Social media?
Sure. At DeadMeatJames on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
And I'm at Carebeck, CareBecc on Twitter and Instagram. And if you want merch, deadmeatstore.com.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you, Gressel, for being
Gressel.
our producer, as always.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Wish we had you on a mic, but then it would have really run 3 hours.
Yes,
so.
This would have been so long.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I guess until next time, I'm Chelsea.
And I'm James.
And this has been the Dead Meat Podcast.